10, 9 Central on ABC.
Moving the Wrangler out, words in France from Fiat Chrysler CEO sending shockwaves through Toledo.
Reaction swift. Union leaders here aren't mincing words.
And putting the brakes on Ebola in America, the unusual demand for the family of the first victim diagnosed in this country. 13 minutes of nonstop news, just seconds away.
Your phone is smart. Your kids are smart. Your dog, well, let's just say he's sweet. And now your grocery shopping is smart too. Because you shop at Kroger and you went online to sign up, sign on, and save more at Kroger.com. To download digital coupons, build shopping lists, even refill prescriptions. Yep, you are one smart cookie.
They're still clipping? I've got all my coupons right here.
Sign up at Kroger.com and start downloading digital coupons today.
The pride,
There's no scenario where you can take the Jeep Wrangler out of Toledo that we would accept.
the legacy,
We will do everything in our power to make sure we keep the Wrangler here in Toledo.
the loyalty.
Because one of the commitments that we've made is never to produce a Wrangler outside of Toledo.
Now the questions.
It conflicted 180 degrees with what he said in Detroit.
Could Chrysler build the next Jeep Wrangler somewhere other than Toledo? The CEO is saying the Glass City may not be the right place for the future of the iconic Jeep. Chrysler saying Marchioni's words stand on their own.
There is a limit to what can be done with the existing structure. We do need to find a way to make more.
Live team coverage starts right now.
Live from WTVG Toledo, this is 13 ABC Action News.
And with that, we say good evening, everyone. Thanks for joining us. I'm Lee Conklin.
And I'm Diane Larson. We have you covered from all angles of the Jeep story with team coverage, including reactions from lawmakers, workers, and dealerships.
And word of the possibility that production of the Toledo-built Wrangler could move out of town, really rippling through the Jeep workforce.
Union leadership, line workers, all surprised to hear the comments, but they're all standing up for their work and their product.
I-Team reporter Sean Haggerty on that part of the story tonight, joining us live.
Yeah, the demand is so high that as we speak, crews are still working, and they'll be here 7 days a week, holidays, Christmas, you name it. They will be working to put Wranglers out. And union leaders say that work, that productivity is the best evidence to say that the Wrangler should stay in Toledo.
Today, I cannot describe the shock and disappointment we had.
All from this quote from Fiat Chrysler CEO Sergio Marchioni, published in Automotive News. If the solution is aluminum, then I think, unfortunately, that Toledo is the wrong place, the wrong setup to try and build a Wrangler, because it requires a complete refiguring of the assets that would be cost prohibitive.
You got hard workers that's here in Toledo that's willing and ready to build whatever Jeep or you bring to the table.
Calvin White works at Mobis, a supplier attached to the North Toledo Jeep plant. He works on the frame that Chrysler may eventually make out of aluminum.
That's where I work. That's my livelihood right now in Toledo. That's how I support my family.
Chrysler considering aluminum to make the Wrangler lighter to get better gas mileage to conform to environmental regulations.
I don't care if they make it out of aluminum, if they make it out of steel, if they make it out of whatever they want to make it out of. It's got to be made in Toledo, Ohio.
I think we can adapt to whatever the owners bring out with Chrysler.
We will fight every inch of the way to keep our product here in Toledo.
UAW members discussed aluminum with Chrysler, so that's not a surprise. But the thought of taking the Wrangler from Toledo, a vehicle produced here since basically World War II, has become almost personal.
We're going to demand that we keep the product that we've got. We've invented the car here in Toledo, Ohio. It belongs in Toledo, Ohio.
Tractor trailers have been going out throughout the evening in and out here of the Jeep plant. Now, the timing of all this is interesting because the city of Toledo just bid on a property next to the Jeep plant, the old Medcor property. It's widely believed that that property will end up in the hands of Chrysler for expansion of the plant at some point down the line. Now, Marchioni did say in the article that employment would stay the same here at the Jeep plant, and he hinted at bringing another vehicle in if the Wrangler is taken away. But everyone I talked with from the UAW today says they do not want to let the Wrangler go. Reporting live in North Toledo, Sean Haggerty, 13 ABC Action News.
All right, Sean, thank you. But if that does happen, if the Wrangler line leaves the city, that could have a trickle-down effect on some other businesses.
13 ABC's Ross Ellett talked with Jeep dealerships today about what the future could look like if the Wrangler production moves out of town. Ross.
Well, we reached out to several dealerships. Not all of them wanted to go on camera, but they all shared the same reaction. They're hoping the speculation stays just that, speculation.
When you think Jeep, you think Wrangler first over everything that they've ever made. And it's, it's just part of Toledo.
Denny Imrine is the managing partner of Grogan Town's Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, Ram. While today's report is troubling, he isn't concerned yet.
I really just think that it's a little speculation. I don't know, like I said, what his wording was. But I pray like heck that it does not happen for Toledo, Ohio, because it means a lot of employment lost.
If the Wrangler does move out of Toledo and employment drops, it'll likely filter down to vehicle sales.
It's major. I mean, it is big time major. And if we lose employees, we lose sales on the retail side of it because, they get a little bigger discount and everything else, and they're working for Chrysler and they want to buy Chrysler.
And Ryan says Toledo's workforce will be tough to replace.
And I would just hope that he would take that in consideration and say, hey, why would I want to move out of Toledo? I got the best manufacturing company in Toledo, and I got people that really work, and they work hard, and they work 60 hours a week to keep the place rolling. It's a Jeep, it's made in Toledo, and Toledo people love it.
And while today's report is a bit on the troubling side, everyone is still staying positive with the dealerships, at least for now. Reporting in Toledo, Rossell at 13 ABC, Action News.
Now, Larry Veliquette is the reporter with Automotive News who broke this story. You may recognize his name. He used to work the Auto Beat for The Blade for years. I Skyped with him from Paris tonight and asked him about Marchionne's comment.
It conflicted 180 degrees with what he said in Detroit at the Detroit Auto Show just in January when I think Lisa reported, and it was Lisa's question. Lisa Guyton asked a question about Toledo and about the Wrangler, and he said he was going to, it would be made in Toledo for as long as he was CEO.
Were you able to do follow-up with him and say, hey, wait a minute, that's absolutely opposite what you said in January?
No, unfortunately, I didn't have the quote in front of me, obviously, because it was kind of a surprise. But I was able to go back and find it later. He did indicate that he couldn't remember exactly what he said. He knew that he had committed to always building Wrangler in America. We went back later and found the quote from what he had told Lisa, and in fact, he had said that he was going to build it in Toledo.
Were you able to do any kind of follow-up with Chrysler? I mean, we didn't get anywhere. Chrysler basically saying Sergio Marchionne speaks for himself.
Yeah, that's pretty much a pat answer. They have very few instances where they contradict what he says.
This is far from a done deal. Marchionne also saying there will be zero impact on employment levels here in Toledo. But just the comment, those few words that Wrangler production could move, really seems like a shot to the gut to those who make it, and the thousands who came before them who built the Wrangler's iconic predecessors. Yep, it's a Jeep thing, a Toledo thing, a generations thing.
You got hard workers that's here in Toledo that's willing and ready to build whatever Jeep or you bring to the table. We'll step up and do it.
Under the Wrangler nameplate, over 1 million sold. Off Stickney Avenue at the Toledo Assembly Complex, they can't build them fast enough, driving our local economy. So hard to envision Toledo without the incredibly popular Wrangler.
All you have to do is look at our track record, and I think we've delivered.
But amid more recent talk of expansion, even more jobs, the stunning statement from France. And now the question, is the city that produces Wrangler and once built its World War II predecessor in a battle to keep it?
And Congresswoman Marcy Kaptur says the Wrangler is, as she put it, in our soul. She told 13 ABC tonight that she'd be open to putting together what she called a strike team to help Chrysler compete in Toledo.
There's no better place for aluminum bodies to be built than Ohio. We have companies like Alcoa that could provide those platforms. One of the largest aluminum companies in the world. They have the largest forging press in the entire country.
That Alcoa plant she's talking about in Cleveland. Meanwhile, we reached out to Governor Kasich about this. The governor's spokesman told us that the governor talked to Mr. Marchionne just a few weeks ago, and Jobs Ohio has been and remains in continuous dialogue with Chrysler. He goes on to say that the governor is confident that based on Toledo's highly skilled workforce and the CEO's pledge to keep their commitment to the state, that this commitment will be kept. 13 ABC will continue, of course, to stay on top of any new developments about the future of Toledo-built Wranglers, and we will bring you any updates on air and online at 13abc.com, also on social media.
The water in Findlay is safe to drink. That's the word from Findlay officials after an algae bloom was detected last week in a reservoir at the city's water plant. Following this story with the Findlay Courier, this bloom was detected in the smaller reservoir at the plant, turned off the water supply from it. Now the plant superintendent says not sure if the bloom is toxic like the one that impacted Toledo, causing the water crisis, but said wasn't taking any chances.
A lot of water from the sky coming down tonight. Had some rain out there.
Yeah, first time in a while, significant rain, right? And now it seems like the temperature might go somewhere where it hasn't been in a while. 13 minutes of nonstop news continues with Chief Meteorologist Jay Burspach. Jay?
Indeed, yeah, it's going to be chilly out there for the weekend, but overnight into tomorrow, it's going to feel muggy. Maybe you can feel the extra humidity with about 1/10 to 2/10 of an inch of rainfall from this evening's rain. There's not much left, though, out there. Here's live Doppler, 13,000 HD, showing just a few sprinkles up to our north and west in Adrian and Hillsdale. Let's focus on temperatures here for you and talk about that warmth. This is the forecast at 7 a.m. tomorrow. It's predictor by the hour, so mid-60s, briefly rising to near 70 at noon, and then the temperature starts to fall off into the 50s for those high school football games. Even colder tomorrow night. Blue, yeah, some upper 30s to begin your weekend, and then high temperatures, not that high, approaching 50. That's the forecast for temperatures. It's going to get cold this weekend and be quite windy. What about the rain? We'll detail the timing of rainfall tomorrow, see when the heaviest moves through, and talk about maybe sleet and rain for the weekend. Got to do it. Your forecast is coming up. Stay with us if you dare.
Texas officials trying to make sure the first diagnosed case of Ebola here in the U.S. doesn't spread any further. Health officials ordering 4 family members of the Ebola patient there to stay in their homes. They've even posted authorities outside to make sure. They're also reaching out to about 100 people to see if they've had contact with the Ebola patient in Dallas. But the CDC says only a handful of people may have actually been exposed. Plan to monitor the 4 relatives closely, very closely, for the next 3 weeks. Meanwhile, Thomas Duncan, the Ebola victim who traveled to the U.S. from Liberia, could face charges in that country. Duncan filled out a questionnaire at the airport saying he didn't have any contact with anyone infected with Ebola. But neighbors in Liberia say Duncan helped a sick woman who later died from the virus. Officials say he'll be prosecuted when and if he returns to Liberia. It's going to be easier for Ohioans signing up for coverage under the federal health care law. Pretty soon they'll be able to sign up, make appointments with local counselors, helping them walk through the process in person. Healthcare advocates announcing plans for a website they say will make it easier for folks to get assistance next month. The organization looks to have the scheduling site ready by November 1st. Open enrollment starts November 15th. And stay with 13 ABC in case anything breaks while you're sleeping. Be up to the minute you're up, beginning at 4:30 tomorrow morning. Jeff, Sasha, Bill, Nicole, and Rebecca, only on 13 ABC Action News. Good morning. Just about 13 minutes after 11, and there is much more ahead tonight. The Terror Watch, what Americans think about the threat on U.S. soil.
Personal information compromised by the tens of millions. The tale of the tape from last month's cyber breach at J.P. Morgan Chase.
And the Hong Kong protests, why they may not wind down anytime soon.
Those stories, plus Jay said the word sleet. We're back in 35 seconds. Hopefully he's got better news ahead.
This is 13 ABC Action News with Diane Larson and Lee Conklin.